What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about ZORA today, ZORA. It is the 22nd day of April, and here we are with about 10 hours left in the day, sitting here at 1.44 cents. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about this. So, ZORA in an absolutely massive downtrend. One of my best friends in life and in crypto, especially. I was talking to him about buying this, and he was laughing at me. He's like, "Well, he's like, they Warren Buffett does say buy when there's fear and blood in the streets, and this thing looks like an absolute disaster. It looks like Armageddon. So you're doing right there." That's that was his perspective, and he's a pretty successful crypto investor himself and trader. So I don't take those words too lightly, but I do believe, even in the midst of all this turmoil, I do believe that we are finding support at prior resistance. I do believe that what we're seeing here is a little bit of a shift sideways instead of just this consistent selling pressure, this consistent diagonal. We're shifting sideways. The momentum seems to be turning, coincidentally, right at prior areas of resistance on a macro level. Right? It made sense why we moved all the way down here because there was really nothing holding us up for support or resistance back here. There was no divots. It was just a straight line up. So basically a straight line down. But now we have something to build off of. There are probably plenty of people who are looking at Zora here, breaking these lows, and thinking just like I did that this would be the time to buy. And I've made plenty of videos throughout this range. And the expectation here is not that we're buying Zora for the long run that'll see a new all-time high. I mean, inevitably, not financial advice, not financial advisor. I do believe it will see new all-time highs, and in that sense, in that respect, if we're measuring here, you're buying at these levels in time. You could certainly expect to see a 10x or more, and likely the or more option. I mean, assuming that this is the low, it's a very conservative measurement at this point, but if it is the low, it's about a 19x to, if we hit the golden ratio, it's 40 something x potential. And I really do believe that Zora can be worth more than $1 given time. It's got 100x potential from these points, but you have to have conviction. You'd have to buy here and hold for years, more than 2 years. That's the long term game that you'd have to wait for there. But that's not what I want to talk about. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I'm not trying to talk about the long term stuff. I want to talk about the short term stuff because in the midst of this, I do believe we will see some type of what's known as a relief rally, a retracement, a move up. You can call it a dead cat bounce, but I wouldn't say it's a dead cat bounce here because you're at prior areas of significant resistance back here before this incredible breakout. Remember, there was a time from these same prices that like 3 days later, you were all the way up from what would be from this current price. You were up like 4x, 4.2x, 320%. The golden ratio itself is about 311%. We look at this move, look at it for what it is. This right here, this point of resistance where you first broke out and then stopped, that's right there in the golden ratio zone. It's completely possible that Zora makes a move up here. It is completely possible. I'm not banking on it. This is not what I'm holding out for, but it's completely possible. I doubt that it happens the same way. Wouldn't that be something if it did? That'd be awesome. You just wake up one day and you're up 4x. That's great. Likely it would be a more methodical approach if we were to get up there, but I'm not expecting necessarily that we get up there. I'm more looking for these first fib retracement targets, which the very closest one is about a 236, which is the 64. Sorry, it's about a 64% growth, which is at the 236 level. The next one would be the 382, which is a very common thing to do to hit that 382 as a retracement. Typically with the 382, you don't stop right at it. You do wick a little bit above there. And if we do wick a little bit above there, we go somewhere in between the 382 and the 0.5. There's points of support right here. There's points of support there and points of support there as well. Something between like 170% to 130% pump could be coming our way. I'm going to take profits along the way. I'm in a short-term position with Zora, not looking to hold this thing for everything that it's worth. Imagine that we do go all the way up to the golden ratio, and I'm selling between this range here. Likely we will come back to this range. If we go to the golden ratio, we can have an opportunity to buy there, or even lower, have an opportunity to buy there. It's completely possible from the golden ratio that you could see lower lows as well. So we've got all the time in the world, all the patience in the world. There's other projects to invest into besides just this one if it continues to climb. But from this point in time here, I do think this is a good point of entry to make a short-term play. 60% gains are nice, especially in a bear market. You do that, you consistently do that over time, and you'll have you'll have a nice little bag at the end of the day. Looking at this here, And again, 60% is just the minimum. It could go up to 170%, could go up to 300%. I'm not going to hold out for that though personally, but we look at this on the daily time frame. The RSI was choppy and sideways, and we have officially, I think, started an uptrend in the more recent days. With this RSI, we have higher lows and higher highs here. It looks like we're ready to move up and get overbought. I think that'll result in a breakout, and we should see some phenomenal movement upwards. Anytime this thing moves up, it sees phenomenal growth in a very short amount of time. Very, very short amount of time. So, and each one of these pumps that we've seen, they've been well over 100%. I mean, even from back here, whenever you were deciding to move up from a low to a high, that was a 67% pump there. From your low to your high in like a week's time or like 2 weeks' time, you moved up 53% there. Here, you moved up more. You know, like there's definitely a lot of growth that we can see in a very short amount of time. So, and taking that Fibonacci retracement into consideration, that 236 is all the way up at about 2.34 or sorry 2.4 cents. Yeah, prior resistance there, prior resistance back here. That might be where we stop, and I'm definitely going to be taking profits there, de-risking, but letting some ride just in case we continue to climb. Looking at this on not just the RSI, but on the stochastics, we're coiled up. We look like, we're bouncing off the oversold zone. It's a bit weird here, but that's what you get when you're choppy and sideways. The MACD looks like it wants to cross above the zero. There's bullish things going on. We've just yet to exact that bullish favor, but soon enough, I think we will. 3-day time frame here. You can see the RSI is coiling. It's having a bit of a rounded bottom itself. I mean, I can't help but say that this is just super bullish right here, guys. This is very, very bullish posturing, and this doesn't mean that we're going up to the overbought zone, but I do expect some type of snap to take place that will send us higher. I do believe that we'll see a move that's over 100% growth from here, personally, and I think that this will happen sometime in the next 30 to 45 days. Stochastics look like they want to rally. The MACD is actually pretty good as well, right? Dying off in its bearish momentum, building some bullish momentum, very severe bullish divergence on the 3-day time frame, and you're at the point now where we would expect some type of a move up to happen. I was actually just making a video on another coin, Onyx coin, that has a very similar look to this, and we've seen this look before where you die off your bearish momentum, you cross green, and in this green cross, you're not pumping, but you're moving sideways like you are now, and then later the pump happens. And we've seen that happen before with several different cryptos, but it just reminds me of that video that I just made. The weekly time frame probably won't help us out too much because this is such a new project. Stochastics are oversold, RSI is oversold, whatever. I mean, we can just base it off of that. Maybe you're oversold, it's time to move up, but that's really not analysis. That's just a guess. So everything else is analysis, though. I do expect that we'll move up higher. We look at this here, bouncing off a 1,886,200 level. Typically in this area, you expect to go either to this zone here, which technically would be, let's see how much of a pump. That'd be like a 43% pump to 105% pump, or, and in my opinion, we'd be more likely to go somewhere in this zone here to the 886-100 level, which could be as much as like a near 2x move, or even a little bit over, a near 3x move, maybe even a little bit over a 3x move, interacting with these prior points of support and resistance. But I digress. I've got nothing else for you guys. If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.